All right, guys, it's been a while since I've talked about this bass here. I'm just gonna let you hear how it sounds. I changed the strings, I put these strings on it. This is what it sounds like right now. So overall, the tone of it, I'll let you guys hear. If you just want to have some room for comparison, ATK, all the other knobs are turned at the halfway mark. These strings are, and I'm not exaggerating, they're about 12 years old. So these strings have been on this bass for 12 years and it still sounds better than the GStyle. But once again, you're looking at a bass right now that could easily pull somewhere around $4,000 to $5,000, especially since there are no lines on it. It is very hard to find these Padulas with no lines, these fretless buzz basses with no lines. So this is a very expensive bass. I'm not trying to brag, I'm just saying that you get what you pay for. But I paid somewhere around $1,200 for this bass, literally about 30 years ago. And back then, that was a lot of money to spend on a bass. I set up all of my amps the same way, and I'm telling you, these pickups are the worst thing about this bass. I have like a beat. What I did with the EQ here is I've got all these set to halfway. This is your volume, and these are just halfway, but I dialed this one back just a little bit before the halfway mark, just to get it to not sound so muddy, just to be able to bring some of the tone out. And here we are, the gold standard of electric bass, in my opinion. Problem that I have with this bass is that they really did not pay attention to detail at all when they were building it. Yes, I understand it was a $300 6-string fretless bass, but the frets, some of them, they didn't file them down well enough, so you still kind of feel them. Like right here, I can feel the fret still. And one of the tuning keys on here, I'll tell you exactly which one it was. It was this one here, because you see it's a different color. And they sent me another one. I complained about it, I wrote them, and they quickly sent out another tuning key, but they said they were gonna send me a whole new set of keys. They only sent me 2. And I was like, well, what good is that now? And you can kind of see the difference. There's not a huge difference, but you'll see here that these other rings are clear, but this one has like a black ring there, right where you tune it, but no one's gonna really notice that. But the fact that they sent me a bass where they had wrapped the string around here, it didn't even have a hole to feed the hole through and then, you know, tune the string up. Okay, we have a slight problem here. There's no hole in here, as you can see down in the hole, but this one doesn't have the hole. Wow. Not good, guys, not good. I couldn't believe that I let that get past me. If I would have caught that sooner and been paying more attention to just this bass instead of buying a bunch of other gear and getting a little bit overwhelmed, I would have caught that and I would have returned the bass, because if I could, I would return this bass right now. So I was wrong. You get what you pay for, you really do. And I just think that if you're gonna step into this world, it's always a good idea to spend the money that it really costs to get an instrument that looks like this, but also plays way, way better than it looks. This is more than anything, it's a Tobias knockoff. I mean, look at that body. The headstock is not Tobias, okay? But the body of this bass is definitely a Tobias style body. My main complaint about this bass is the fact that the pickups are so bad. So if you're willing to put in nicer pickups, I restrung it with the right type of strings, I think, that suit this bass pretty well. And if you're willing to change out the tuning keys, then maybe this is a good project bass for you. But I think, you know, the action needs to be addressed. It's not terribly high, but it's a little bit high. But the thing that concerns me is that the frets, you can actually feel that this was a 6-string bass and they just took those frets off and left the lines in there. And this is another reason why I've never really been a big fan of basses, fretless basses with lines. That's why my main fretless bass, the Padula, doesn't have lines. My Music Man sub bass, it's a fretless, it doesn't have lines on it. I just don't really like the lines. The lines kind of just throw me off when I'm playing fretless. I don't know why. It's not a big deal if I'm playing a fretted bass, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me. Like just getting the finger positioning correct or the hand positioning correct or whatever you want to say. It just doesn't seem like this thing is really worth the struggle for 350 bucks. It's just not. I just think that really, even if the bass came to me for $150, I still would be like, you know. But like I said, if you're just dying to play a 6-string bass that's fretless and you don't have a lot of money, then this probably isn't a bad idea. But you do have to put some money into it. You got to put some time into it, and you got to get it straight. Once you do those things, then I think you would have a decent bass, but you're gonna want a better quality 6-string fretless bass. And I'm not totally sure what that would be if it's not a Padula or, you know, one of those big name brand like Ken Smith or something. Those basses, when you play them, you know right away, they come to you as soon as you pick them up and you put them in your hands, you play them and they're perfect. I never had to do anything to the old Ken Smith I had. Granted, it was a $2,500 bass in 1998. I get it. I understand. You get what you pay for. I shouldn't complain. I should be grateful that I can buy an instrument like this and be like, well, there was $350 down the drain, but hey, it's not the end of the world. It's not that bad, but like I said, you want to work on this thing and make it a better bass. More than anything, you've got to start with the pickups. If you decide you want this bass, that's fine, but just make sure that you check these tuning keys out. Make sure that they didn't play a trick on you like they did with me. Like I said, if you say something to them, they'll make it right. They did make it right. They didn't make it right exactly the way they said they would, but either way, now you know. So at the end of the day, would I recommend you buy this bass? If you are just dying for a 6-string fretless bass and you don't have a lot of money, sure, why not? But if you can afford to even save up and be patient and get you a nicer bass down the road, and when I say down the road, maybe 6 months to a year, I highly recommend that you just wait be patient and buy a better bass. I would much rather have, you know, an Ibanez or something and then just take the frets off of it. Anything. I would rather invest the money and feel better about what I'm playing rather than have something that I got a monkey with, when I have other instruments that as soon as I pick them up and play them, I'm like, this is what quality is all about. So those are my closing thoughts on this bass. I hope that if any of you saw my other videos and you bought this bass, that you are happier with it than I am. As you can see, I'm gonna keep it. I'm not gonna get rid of it. I've had it for quite some time now. It looks like I'm stuck with it forever, and that's fine. I'll fiddle with it every once in a while. I'll pick it up and I'll play it, but other than that, that's all I can say about this bass.